Hey you, welcome to For the Girls, a show intentionally curated by the girls for you to listen or watch wherever you're viewing from, but leave feeling a little more heard, seen, and a little bit wiser than you came here. I'm so happy you're here. How are you? What's going on in your world? Are you good? Are you running on empty? Are you running on joy? Wherever you're at right now, I'm so glad that you clicked on this video or on this clip on Spotify. So you picked a very good episode to join today because you are in for a time. We have the one and only, the internet's fave, Pastor Oyin Brandy. Everybody knows Oyin Brandy. And when I say that you're the internet's fave,
what is everybody?
No, oh, Brandy, I think maybe you're not aware of the power you hold. And not even the power you hold, because at the end of the day, it's God that gives us influence as a gift because of the gifts that He's placed on the inside of us. But what you've done and like the brand you've created and the community you've created, it's wider than you think. Let me just put it that way. Genuinely.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, shout out to God. But my question is, how did you get started in content creation? I know that's a very general one, but let's cast the net wide and then we'll go
I like it.
Yeah.
How did I get started with content creation? A couple years ago, content creation was not what it is now, right? The first ever video that I made was on YouTube, actually, when they said a decade.
Yeah, I was going to ask the 10 years. Please tell us from back then.
Yes, not like 10 years of consistency. It was just 10 years of just random.
And I remember we had this conversation.
Yeah, complete randomness. But the first ever video that I made was actually like a remake of one of these African parents video. I don't know if you know, like them, Don't Jealous Me.
Yeah.
Now I
like
can't remember all these Vine. Do you know Vine?
I
Okay,
do know.
I can't remember the Vine people anymore, but it was one of those kind of videos, and I posted it on YouTube where I told my cousin, right, to clean the floors, and then I came back to inspect it and I was like, look at this dot on the floor, and I was like, you didn't clean that out. It was like, just very African parent-centric video. But that was maybe 2014. I was in Dubai at the time and I filmed that. It was just a very funny video.
You lived in Dubai?
No, we were on vacation, And then when I came to Canada in 2015, then the likes of Tony Olaye, they started creating. I started watching Jackie I, and I was mainly, YouTube was mainly saturated with beauty content.
Yes.
That type of content. You didn't really see a lot of lifestyle or all of those.
Or talking.
Talking.
Yeah.
So you know what? I created my first actual YouTube video now was the Nigerian tag. A lot of people were doing like the Nigerian tag or wherever they were from. So they asked like these questions. Like,
and you could even find it if you search up like Nigerian tag questions on Google.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My Nigerian tag is probably still up there somewhere from 9 years ago.
Below.
No, don't link it. And we were asking questions like, what's your favorite Nigerian song? What's your favorite Nigerian food? I got it with my friends from high school.
Oh, you did like the big like Nella Rose style.
Like Nella Rose style. I think we were about 7.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like 7 girls, and then I had my friend. He's actually South Sudanese. He was in my school at the time, and I told him to help me record because he had a camera, and he came all the way. He helped. Like, it was so nice. I gave it to another friend of mine to help me edit. That time, people were willing to help you because everyone was intrigued that, oh my God, our friend is making a YouTube video, and the video actually did really well. It did well, and then I think that was the start of YouTube for me. I started doing beauty content, even though that's not necessarily what I liked, but that was what was popular. I was good at makeup as well, so I was like, why not do beauty content? It did pretty well, and I guess Oyin Brandy is who she is today.
Wow.
Yes.
And I knew, because we had this conversation about like, when you started, it wasn't what it is now.
It wasn't.
And you even
at all.
stepping out into it wasn't, I don't want to say a money grab, because I'm very careful. Like, there's nothing wrong with the girls that want to make money from content creation as a career.
For me, I love that you remember that, because this is something I constantly say. I'm not in content creation for the money. I'm in content creation because of the voice that God has given to me that I can use to empower women, to build up people, and just to share my story. If there's something about me, I love to share my story.
And it shows. Because the thing with, and that's what I was going to say about like, there's nothing wrong with no shame to the girls, or no shade to the girls that like are doing it as a career path, but there's a difference in when you're doing it as a career, as opposed to this is an authentic expression of what God's put inside of you.
Right.
The medium that you found to express that was
Yes.
just content creation.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I just think that that's a really big part. So now that we talked about like how you got started,
Yes.
my next question would be, can you tell the girls, was that always the dream? Because the truth is you wear multiple hats.
Yes, I
Content
do.
creation is actually probably 1/16
Oh,
of the hats that you wear. The ones that you show, maybe like
Yes.
1/7,
Yeah.
1/6
Yeah.
of the hats that you
Yes.
wear. And you seem to do each one really well.
Glory
Which
to
one was the dream, and how do they all play a part in each other? Because you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You're actually, first of all, you're a pastor. Let's
Yes.
start with that. 'cause
First
that's
of all, I'm a
yeah,
pastor.
That's the calling.
Yes, that's the calling. You know what? Let me put it this
Yeah.
way. They're all the calling, just different expressions of the calling. So I'm a pastor, which is more front-facing.
Okay.
My content creation is also pretty front-facing, basically sharing my faith through my lifestyle. That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what my content creation is about.
Okay.
And then I'm an entrepreneur. That is a means to an end.
Okay, fair.
I'm an entrepreneur not because I think I have a very natural, what's the word?
Like business mind?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
just very entrepreneurial. Like from
Okay,
when
okay.
from when I was younger, I had a very business savvy mindset.
Okay.
So I think that's why I'm really good at business, most especially things that I do with my hands. The work of my hands. I think I'm excellent with the work of my hands, and
it shows.
yes, and like I said, entrepreneurship for me is a means to an end because of where it is that I'm going to. Right? It is not something I
elaborate.
hope to do long term the way that I'm doing it now.
Okay.
Right
So you
now,
have
I'm
the
still kind of
long-term vision.
hands-on
I
with my
see.
businesses. The plan is to be a business owner that's hands-off
I see.
over
I see.
time. I don't want to spill too much, but
Exclusive.
yeah,
Exclusive.
exclusive. Just know my husband and I are working on something, and
Okay.
it's probably for the next 4 or 5 years
Oh wow.
down the line. Yeah,
Well,
and it's gonna be
when
huge.
it's time, because that's a huge thing of like when
Yeah.
it's time, that's the time to share it.
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned all these different, and that's good that you said that it's different expressions of your calling because
Yes.
it's not one over the other.
Yes, it's not one over the other. It's different expressions. Everything works together for the good of Oyin Brandy.
You better catch that. You better catch that. But was there a dream? Like, was there one that you dreamt of? Because you really seem like you actually do them all very well.
I think that I didn't quite have perspective and direction when I started everything. It was really just, okay, I need to have money
Okay,
to
fair.
eat,
Yeah.
to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And I realized what is it that you can do that can provide for you. So all through university, I used to make wigs, right?
Oh, so
Even
you
though
started from back then.
I started making wigs, doing hair when I was in university.
That makes sense.
Like I used to do all kinds sew-ins, all those things.
Okay.
That doesn't quite fit into where I am right now. So I still sell wigs, but I don't make them anymore.
Okay.
I have people that make them for me now.
Okay.
So can you see how there's growth?
Yes, and
in
evolution.
an evolution,
Yes.
exactly. Right now, I also do makeup as well.
Yeah,
I'm a bridal makeup artist. Funny how I'm actually going to the States tomorrow for a bridal job.
wow.
Yes.
Your gifts will make room for you.
Your gifts will make room for you. But
Bro.
besides that, I don't think this is something that I'm gonna do for the next probably like within the next 2-3 years. I will do well at it, and maybe end up opening like a beauty hub type thing. But I don't think that I would have the capacity
I see.
to be
Continue
being
in
the
this.
one actually painting the face.
Yeah,
I don't think I would have the
yeah.
capacity. What God is calling me to, which I know very well, is to help women find purpose, whatever that looks like. So through my content creation I think is something that is here to stay, not to make money, but just sharing my story forever. But also curating events and opportunities for women to come together, fellowship together, find purpose, be renewed, be poured into. I think that's what Oyin Brandy's calling expressions
is leading
to. Exactly.
No, that's so good. I'm really glad that you brought that up. Now, the reason why I asked the question is because there's a lot of girls, sometimes I've like seen them like under my comments, even under your comments too, because I be reading because I'm like, I want to know, like, I feel like one calling that God has called me to is like understanding and being able to see the heart of his girls. Because sometimes it's very easy, and I thought it was something that all of us did. It's very easy to overlook what somebody is really saying and how they're really feeling.
Somebody is just gonna hear come, and she's gonna make a whole video about come. Coming into the presence of the Most High King.
You know, there's a lot of things that we can unpack that. We can unpack that. But I've seen and heard from conversations a lot of girls that are like, first of all, there's a lot to give up when it comes to your calling. And you even talked about that when you were speaking to like your younger self and being like, the sacrifice will be or your future self, that the sacrifice will be worth it.
Yes.
But when you have a dream and then the expression of your calling now shows up in reality, how do you piece the two together? And that's why I asked, was this always your dream? Because we can have a dream when we're younger and etc. But then when we now get older and we're like, okay, I'm feeling that this is the calling, but then also necessity too. I need to pay bills. I need to make ends meet.
Exactly.
And then you're now having to, you know, kind of like struggle with the expression of what that looks like in real life. What has that been like for you?
Like you said, Tobi, right now, I'm still in the building phase, building everything that God has called me to do. But through the building phase, I'm also in a season of being refined. I'm also in a season where things are not necessarily as easy. I know you guys see me on social media, and you see a lot of creators on social media, but you don't actually know the story or what is going on behind. This is not the moment to share my testimony, but I will eventually. I feel like because of where I'm at right now, I have a child, I'm a mother, to provide for that child. We need to provide for her. She needs to eat. She didn't ask to be born. We have to take care of her.
Bro.
We do. And because of that, I still have to do things that, like I said, are a means to an end. The goal is not to do it forever. And you have to be comfortable in seasons where you are doing things that you don't necessarily want to do long term, but you have to do right now in order to make ends meet. You have to be okay with that. Don't let that overwhelm you. Don't let that make you put you down. And I'm even talking to myself right now because I also had a very terrible morning before I came here. Glory to God for giving me joy. You have to be okay with your current season. Don't try to rush your seasons. Like I said, I'm in a state of being refined. God is dipping me back, pulling me out, looking at me, dipping me back, pulling me out, looking at me until he's seeing his reflection in me, until I look just like him. And today he even showed me a part of myself that doesn't quite look like him yet. And for where he's taking me to, that refining has to happen. It's necessary. So maybe I don't have the abundance that I hope for. It's gonna come, but I have to be ready for it. My character has to be built for it. Because if I have all that I need right now, maybe I'm not as good as I think. Maybe we're all not as good as we think.
And character is a word that I just feel like is really lost in our generation.
In our generation,
like who is talking about that genuinely? Like it's a thing of, well, this is what I want and I'm going to get it. But are you the person that you need to be? Have you become the person that you need to be for that? But I feel like that perspective that you said makes it maybe not easier. And I'm sorry that you had such a rough morning, by the way.
It's okay, please.
But thank you for still being here and sharing with the girls, also from a place of authenticity, as we said. But that perspective makes it gives purpose to the process. So when you're like, okay, but this is the dream I had, and then this is the calling and like how it's manifesting in this season, knowing that there's actually a reason for this, I feel like makes it easier. Do you know the reason why I, like, first of all, love you in person, but like love what you've created online? And I know we mentioned authenticity already, but I think is the fact that you, how do I say this correctly? What you show online is genuine real life. Like it's not, it's one thing to be authentic and be like, you know, guys, like this is what I'm feeling today, but you also show I can be a girl, you know, like for the girls, like you're cute, your face is beat, you're looking good down, but then you're also talking about like, there's going to be seasons of your life that God is going to be doing a working in you. It's not always going to be, for lack of a better word, sexy and like very nice looking. I can look put together and I can look great, but real life, because one reason why I started sharing, you know, like on Instagram and TikTok, messages for the girls and then now brought it over to here is because I felt like I'm going on the internet, and yes, people aren't going on the internet to have their lives changed. Sometimes you're just going to escape reality. You're just going to scroll until you need to do the next thing. But people are having like real life problems.
Yes,
like,
you're right.
As they're on that social media app, their life hasn't stopped. Do you know what I mean? Like the person that they need to send that text to, have that hard conversation with, you know, do something, break up with their toxic relationship. Let's be honest, like it's all happening as they're on the app. So my calling, or I guess what God, the perspective God gave me was, as they're on that app, you at least let it be that when they come onto a few girls' pages, what they see is something that they can take when that app closes and actually apply to their real life. This is that.
That's so
because
good.
It's one thing to do makeup, you need to look good. That's also empowering women. Don't get me wrong. I know how I feel when my makeup hits and when it bangs, but it's also another thing to know what to think, how to restructure your mind, the perspective to have on a situation, not just, okay, at least I look good, but I'm sad. At least I look good, but I don't have perspective on the season I'm in. So I think that you sharing being in a plowing season and being honest about what that actually looks like is going to help a lot of people.
I hope it does.
And also make them feel a
You're
little
you're not alone.
Thank you.
You're not alone. You're not alone. God is not done with you. There's so much that He wants to do in and through you. Just stay true to Him. Stay true to the Word. I know the world seems attractive. I know that it seems nice. I know you feel like there's so many other things you could be doing and your life will make more sense. Just stay with God. If He says that the hairs on your head are numbered, just think about that. He really cares. If it matters to you, it matters to Him.
Oh, that's good. Hold on to that one, Landon. That's good. Now, I'm glad that you brought up the world and, you know, the things that seem enticing. You became a pastor recently.
Yes.
Mind you, you're also very young. You're very young and you're a baby girl. Like, I don't know what other word to use. Like, when I look at Oyin Brandy, I'm not thinking like, oh, you know, yes, you are somebody's mom and that's the biggest calling, as I would imagine. But like, you're a babe. But you're a pastor. But you're a pastor, and like, thank God for people like Sarah Jakes Roberts that are coming up, and you know, we're seeing that fashion and beauty and all these things don't need to be left out of that conversation. But what did that feel like? Did you always feel called to being a pastor, and what does that feel like dealing with the pressures that come from that and kind of merging who you are with who you've been called to be?
First of all, did I always feel called to be a pastor? No. Absolutely not.
Thank you for keeping it real with us.
I think it's something that came as a result of growth, me growing. Obviously, I gave my life to Christ all over again. I think this was 2018, where I genuinely started building a real relationship with God. And by say 2020, I knew what it is that God would have me do, the direction that, let's say 2019, 2020, the direction that He was taking me towards. I remember even back then, I had received a prophecy from someone that I trust, and he was like, you're gonna be a mother to many. But at the time, I didn't understand, because I wasn't this Oyin Brandy. Let me tell you guys, 3 years ago, Oyin Brandy, as you see her now, did not exist.
Wow.
Yeah. I wasn't this
We're gonna unpack that later.
I wasn't this Oyin Brandy. I was just my regular self, Oyin Brandy, Onyede Brandy, regular schmegula. And
so 1.0.
1.0.
Yeah.
Yes. And when he said, you're gonna be mother to many, I didn't understand it, but now I don't think I've quite hit it yet, but I can see it unfolding right before my eyes. And that, okay, let's now track back and go back to like pastoring. Pastoring for me came out of relationship with God. Him telling us that this is this. I don't think necessarily that we're going to be pastoring the way we are now forever. Right now, we actually pastor like a church on campus, a campus church. I don't know if that will be the same 5 years, 7 years from now.
Where will it evolve to?
Yes, exactly. but I know that we would still be grounded in God in any way that he wants to express it through us, whether that is pastoring the church or not. Now, the pressures of pastoring. I think the most pressure that I feel is not even, my life was never, I was never like in the world, like want to go clubbing or, I'm not even someone that likes music. So I feel like that's one thing that people struggle a lot with, like music.
True.
I'm someone that even likes music, so it was not, like I didn't feel like I had to drop many things.
Yes, okay.
The main things that I had to drop were more character flaws that God has to help me with, still helping me with. Discipline. Pastoring will force you to be disciplined, and also being a burden bearer, carrying other people's burdens. One thing about pastoring that a lot of people don't see, and is actually the main, going on the pulpit and preaching is not, is like 1/10 of what it is to actually be a pastor. But you see that pastoral care, people needing you, people genuinely have, like, it's almost like their faith is dependent on yours, even though you have to still always tell them, see, look at me as I look at Christ.
Yes, yeah.
It's Jesus you should be focused on. I'm no one. I'm no one. But people genuinely need you. They genuinely,
because God is using you. You're the hands and feet of Christ on the earth.
When they don't know how to navigate life, they call you. But imagine if you are not already in the Word. Imagine you are not already praying. You're not already filling up yourself with godly things. What are you pouring into other people? And this is what God has constantly been telling my husband over and over again. You cannot be mediocre with your walk with God, because lives are dependent on you. And sadly, the Bible even talks about how pastors and people that are called into the fivefold ministry, you're gonna be ranked, they're gonna be rated more strictly. Because people's lives were dependent on yours. I do not want to be the reason for someone missing out on the many things that God has for them. Hence, the pressure is getting worse. It's worse. But it also helps my own faith.
100%.
It also helps
100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I hope that, I continue to be a good pastor.
Amen.
I think most importantly for me, it's not even being seen, but being seen by the world, but being seen by God, like God, holding on to him. Me and God are like bound together because I have no one else.
Like where else will I go?
Where else would I go? Where else would I go?
You have the words of wisdom. No, that's so good. Do you think that, I honestly can't imagine. And I think even outside of pastoring, and this is not because the office of being a pastor is very important and very distinct. And I'm going to ask a question about, do you think that we need a redefinition of the word pastor, just because of the bad rep that it's gotten? But even before that, when you mentioned that there's lives attached to you, so there's a seriousness that comes with that. Sometimes I feel like Christians need to hear that even before, or if you are never a pastor, there's actually lives attached to your calling, and there's lives dependent on your obedience in whatever expression that looks like, because of what you said, that it's many calling, like all of those things where you're calling.
Of you being in the office of a pastor, playing the role of a pastor. Maybe you're not even called to the fivefold ministry. Maybe you're not an evangelist, you're not an apostle, all those things. There's still lives of people that are dependent on your obedience. There's still lives of people that are dependent on your obedience. But God, the mysteries of God is so infinite that even if you are not obedient, God will raise other people to help his person, because he would sometimes have to bypass you to reach other people, especially if you have chosen to live in disobedience. I hope that would never be our portions in the name of Jesus. I hope that when God comes, he would find you at your duty post. He would find you right where he has kept you. May you not, and the problem we are facing in this generation is that a lot of people are not thriving in their duty post. They want to be in other people's posts. Just imagine God has called you to be, say, a kids ministry teacher, but because you
Yeah.
feel like, oh, that's so behind the scenes. I want to be on the stage.
I wanna be
seen.
Yeah.
And you decide to like go into maybe the worship team. Let's say you can even sing.
Yes, yeah.
On the final day, when God comes, will He find you where He kept you?
I just got chills
Yeah.
all over my body. Brandy, that was needed. I think I needed to hear that too. And maybe not even just in the capacity of like serving in church, because that one, like, people can, when you're in a good community, they can usually catch it. Like, girl, go sit down.
Yeah.
If you're under good covering, honestly,
Yes,
like, you're
they'll
not gonna
catch it.
stand on
Your
that
pastor
stage.
will not let
Yeah,
you,
he's like,
go
dude,
sit
that
down.
altar is actually sacred.
Yeah.
Please go to the
Right now.
sanitation team. Actually, is where no, genuinely, like,
Exactly.
if you want to see behind the scenes,
Exactly.
sanitation team, but
Yeah.
even just in other aspects too, where God is like, this is not about you.
Yeah.
This is about the
Yeah.
lives attached to you,
Yeah.
but He wants to use us, and we
Yes.
get to be a part of it.
Yes.
Now, the other question that I was gonna ask was, pastoring, do you think it needs a redefinition? Because for some people, they've had great experiences.
Yeah.
I love my pastors. I love being under authority, having people that I can go to, all of those good things. But also, I've interacted with Christians that grew up in the church, and their understanding of pastoring is so bad. And because of bad experiences, like
Yes.
traumatic experiences
Yes.
with the church and etc. What do you
I
think
think the
about
Bible is
that?
very clear on, the responsibilities of people in ministry. The Bible is actually very clear. But what we need to remember is that men and women of God are first still men and women. Yeah,
That's good.
You're dealing with real people just like yourself, and this is not to excuse any form of church hurts. Like, people
Yes.
have actually been hurt by the church deeply. This is just to say that maybe it's not a redefinition that we need. Maybe what we need is that everybody just leave the attention and the applause of others and just focus on God. Just focus on God. And maybe that's a redefinition, right?
Yeah, in itself,
maybe that's a redefinition in itself. Maybe just stop chasing after, and I'm speaking to anyone that is looking to go into ministry.
Yeah.
You need to hide yourself in God. Only
Yeah.
God has the capacity of revealing you. If you force yourself to be revealed, you would not last on the scene. Allow God reveal you. And this is the problem that we are having in this generation. We do not have people that are discipled into pastoring. Like, you're not being discipled into ministry in general.
Yeah.
And when I talk about ministry, I'm not even talking within the confines of the church.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
you being a doctor, you being a teacher, that's
Yeah.
ministry.
Come on.
People are not being discipled into ministry. People are coming into it by way of, I have this revelation.
Yes.
But your
Or I want to.
revelation is not enough. It is not enough. Anything that violates the word of God is not God. Wow. So if you're doing things that you know that God is not approving of,
My dear.
yeah, you should
No,
go
that's
back.
good.
Yeah.
Now, moving slightly away from even though all of this actually still
Yes.
ties in, but you mentioned that you got a word over you that you were going to mother many.
Yes.
However, it started, well, I don't know which one came first. I think you were a pastor before Tori came on the scene.
Yes.
But you became a mother at a very young age.
Yes.
What has that looked like? And I guess, like, you had a word about it before, but what did that process of mothering and also mothering in at such a young age?
Okay, Tobi, I'm going to talk to you as a sister. I'm not going to make this sound nice.
Yeah.
Be ready before you have a child. Like, don't let anyone pressure you. Don't let anyone tell you, even your parents, don't let them say, and girls, you're listening, don't let anyone say, don't worry, we'll take care of them for you. It's a lie. It's you and your husband and your child, baby. Mothering has been difficult for me because it's one of those things that really tests you.
Wow.
Like this morning, right? I had to do my makeup. I had some other content I wanted to get done beforehand.
Yeah.
But then how can you do anything when your child is screaming at you? They're fed, they're changed, they just want you to carry them. So I feel like you would not understand, or we do not appreciate the sacrifices that our moms made until we become moms ourselves.
Girl.
And now I don't understand how people have 4, 5, 6 children. I know that it's not for me, I know that it's not for me. Mothering will humble you. Mothering will teach you patience.
Jesus.
I realize that maybe I'm not a very patient person. Maybe I'm not a very patient person.
That is one of my biggest fears, is what that can uncover in
Yes.
Because it's so easy, and I'm so sorry to interrupt you, it's so easy to look at your mom and be like, well, why didn't you do this, and why didn't you do that? And
don't. I promise you, your moms are doing their best.
Yeah.
Nobody teaches you how to be a parent.
Oh, wow.
You go into it head first.
I felt that one.
Moms are really doing their best, and I know I come from like a Nigerian background, and we see a lot of our moms having sacrificed their careers, having sacrificed so much in order to train you up, and you might look at them and judge them. Why didn't you work? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?
You know, be the go-getter woman.
Why are you not a go-getter woman? Why are you not a career woman? To be all of that and still care for you, nurture you, is almost impossible. Except you actually are able to outsource your parenting. If you want to outsource your parenting, that's fine. But if you want to be hands-on, it's not easy. They need you. Like, especially in the stage that my daughter is in right now. My daughter is just 7 months. She physically needs me. And I want to just say something to moms that are listening right now. And Tobi, you're going to be a mom soon. Not soon, but like when you choose.
Yes.
Go easy on yourself. Go easy on yourself. God understands the state and the stage that you're in. God resonates with exactly what you're going through because He is your mother and your father.
Yeah.
He understands. And also give grace to your parents.
Yeah.
They're doing the best that they know how. They're also learning. This is
the
also
job.
their first life. They're living through their own life too.
Yeah.
So
it's so crazy that you said that, because I heard that 3 years ago, and I think that was the beginning of like the best part of my relationship with my mom ever. That exact line. And so like you saying that, I'm like, oh, get it together, because it makes a difference. Like if you allow that to sink in, it makes a difference. I was on Twitter and I was seeing all these comments about like, I think a lot of people have mother wounds. You know, people talk about like daddy issues and etc. But mother wounds is so deep. And the thing that you said of like, why weren't you the dreamer and the go-getter and the etc. And just many things. And I was reading and I was like, somebody needs to speak to them. Maybe me, maybe us, maybe the other guests that'll be on the show, but like there really seems to be a bit of an epidemic in the grace that isn't being given to mothers until people now become mothers. But I don't think we should wait until we get there.
You shouldn't wait, and that's why we're telling you now. Give grace to your mothers, give grace to your parents. Give grace to them.
Yeah.
They were probably, maybe they were tough, they were frustrated too.
Oof.
And they still had to be there for you. Imagine going through all whatever it is that you're going through right now. You cannot pay rent, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. But then you have a child that actually needs you. Give grace to them.
That's enough said. If the episode ended there, that was and I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Hold on.
Baby.
No, I don't think you know what you saying yes, specifically in the sphere of influence that you're in, has done for many people and done for me. Because us meeting and me telling that cute little story of, you recording, it may have seemed like a small moment, but that changed a lot of things for me. Seeing you show up on TikTok, on Instagram, seeing you show up past maybe when followers weren't making sense, even though to me it was always big. It was always big to me, but then seeing where you've gone to and then being like, if she started from there, how much farther is she going to go? Your yes has done a lot for me and for many other people.
Thank you, Tobi.
Yeah, so
really
please don't stop.
You.
You're fantastic.
Thank
Your
you.
authenticity is fantastic.
Thank
you
you
showing
so
up
much.
as you.
Thank you.
And we love you and we're behind you. We're behind you, especially when you stepped into pastorhood, if that's a word, God forgive me.
Pastoring?
Pastoring, I said pastorhood. That
It's okay,
sounded
please.
So wrong.
It works.
That just sounded
so wrong.
It works. But that moment was big for a lot of people, and we're backing you. Yeah, you have a community that stands behind you full force. Yeah,
Don't
please
make me
don't cry.
cry.
No, please don't. I held back. If I could hold back, we can do this
I love
together.
You so much.
I love
it was
you.
so nice being here.
Thank you. And thank you for doing this
Of
for
course,
the girls.
for the girls.
From before this ever existed, you've been doing it for the girls. So shout out to you.
Thank you so much, Tobi. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.
Well, guys, as we've just sat here and poured out our hearts to each other, but also to you, I hope that this has meant something. I hope you've, like I said at the beginning, left feeling a little bit wiser, seen and heard, and knowing that you're not alone. This life thing, we're all doing it. We're all walking through it. And we can all learn from each other and be a part of each other's stories. This is YouTube or Spotify, wherever you're listening on. There's things like, all these metrics, they matter for something. The fact that you're here, it matters enough to me. But if you could like the video, like the broadcast, share it with somebody you think will need it or could use it in their past, their present, or their future. And subscribe for more. I can't wait to see you on the next episode of For the Girls. Bye. Bye. Y'all go to Oyin Brandy's channel, Instagram, TikTok, and say thank you so much for sharing with the girls. Please, we have a good character. We have good character on this show. So please go and do the needful. Thank you.
Love you.
I'll see you guys later. Bye.